Merry Christmas, everybody, and Tony here with a review of the Three Tenors Christmas with conductor Stephen Mercurio, along with the Vienna Symphony Orchestra, which was released on September 2000. The members of the Three Tenors were Luciano Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, and Jose Carreras. The Three Tenors. Before I got myself invested into opera from the likes of Andrea Bocelli and Charlotte Church, these three gentlemen were my gateway singers. Yes, there was also Maria Callas, but I basically heard these gentlemen a lot more often than Callas, mostly because they had such an appeal which made them so legendary, and of course, as individuals, they have established themselves as some of the most famous tenors in the opera world. When you put all these three legendary gentlemen together, you get one of the finest opera bands of all time, not only in the operatic world, but also the music world in general. So it's safe to say that I did grow up with these three gentlemen when I was very, very young, even though I didn't start becoming an opera fan immediately. It still took me a lot of time because I was still about 4 or 5 years old when I first heard them. Yeah, I wasn't really swayed into loving opera immediately. However, given some time, I did learn how to appreciate them a lot more often. And of course, I did enjoy everything that they have to offer as the three tenors. And deservedly so, because each of them has been very well known for singing their operatic roles and chamber music pieces so pristinely and with such great abandon, and of course, with such style. And when you put these three together, then they seemed rather unstoppable. With international tours and a lot of acclaim from not only opera fans, but also fans of music in general. Yes, they may have had their fair share of controversies, but the legacy that these three gentlemen had will forever live on. So when I heard this Christmas installment, it was mainly through passing, as I also saw a televised concert of them only in snippets, and I thought that they were able to sound in their complete prime, and they certainly did. This album is basically a fine and eclectic collection of not only holiday favorites, but also art songs and sacred music. On top of that, what these three tenors have in common is that they're not only very well known for singing some roles in the bel canto repertoire, most notably from Vincenzo Bellini and Gaetano Donizetti, but they've also specialized in roles from Giuseppe Verdi, Giacomo Puccini, Umberto Giordano, Francesco Cilea, and many other great Italian composers. And they also got their fair amount of fame from not only doing such lyrical parts, but also the more dramatic parts. These three tenors have not only been very well known for singing the likes of the Duke from Rigoletto, or even that of Alfredo from La Traviata, but even Radames from Aida. So much so to the point that Luciano Pavarotti even recorded Otello, whereas with Placido Domingo was a very well-known Otello all throughout the 70s and even throughout the 2000s. And of course, Jose Carreras never really did sing Otello. He mainly sang the likes of Sanson and Don José, just to name a few roles that he's done in the spinto tenor repertoire. Now, going to each of these tenors individually, let's start off with Luciano Pavarotti. Now, Luciano Pavarotti has been very well known in his early career as a fine bel canto singer who manages to sing everything with such abandon. He started off with the likes of Bellini, Donizetti, and even some Rossini, before venturing into the likes of Alfredo from La Traviata, Rodolfo from La Bohème, in which this was his role debut when he was 26, Fritz Kobus from L'Amico Fritz, and many other roles for a full lyric tenor. And much later in his career, he started to sing a lot more spinto-y roles, like Cavaradossi from Tosca, and Radames from Aida, just to name a few. And of course, Manrico from Il Trovatore. He's been dubbed as the King of the High Seas, mostly because of his unparalleled performance as Tonio from Donizetti's La Fille du Régiment, a role that he often sang with Joan Sutherland as Marie. I definitely enjoy Luciano Pavarotti for everything he had to offer as a complete singer. He sang his lines with such pure abandon and passion that I was practically on the edge of my seat, and it also helped that he had really great breath control, given the fact that he did start off with singing bel canto, and he used those same bel canto techniques, especially when he sang the heavier roles, which proved to be rather effective for him. And when I listened to him sing all of these lovely Christmas songs, I thought that he had a wonderful voice all the way through. However, I'm not really too crazy about his English diction. While his English pronunciation is rather solid, there are just times that I'm not too crazy about it because there were some words he kind of mispronounced, and there are times that he made certain words sound kind of strange, but that's not to deter his talent at all. I still think he was a talented and absolutely wonderful tenor who sang with such abandon, and he was charismatic from beginning to end. So I still have to give a lot of kudos to Signora Pavarotti for everything he accomplished. Then we go to Placido Domingo, who is indubitably one of my most favorite Otellos, Sansons, and Radameses of all time. I definitely associate Senor Domingo with all of these heroic roles, not only because of the color of his voice, but in his prime, he really did look like a hero. He was able to stand so proud and tall and strong that I was on cloud nine. And of course, I also did have a DVD of his performance of Radames when he was singing this at the Metropolitan Opera House alongside Aprile Milo as Aida and Dolores Zajic as Amneris. That is just how much I enjoy him as a dramatic tenor. He not only sang the heroic roles of Sanson, Don José, Otello, Manrico, and Radames, but also the Wagnerian parts like Tristan, Tannhäuser, Walter von Stolzing, and of course Lohengrin, in which he sang this role in Vienna alongside Cheryl Studer as Elsa. I definitely love the color of Placido Domingo's voice in its prime, though nowadays I'm not too crazy about his decision to sing a lot of the baritone roles, because it seems as though that a part of his voice seems to be going and going, and I feel like he should have retired lickety split. But despite all that, I still have to give my hat off to Placido Domingo for everything he did in this particular album. He was able to sing with such abandon, and he was able to be a very charismatic singer from beginning to end. Finally, we have Jose Carreras, a tenor who's not only been specializing in the full lyric tenor roles, but also attempted some of the spinto tenor parts. He did start off with the likes of Il Duca from Rigoletto, Flavio from Norma, and even a lot of the full lyric tenor parts, but eventually he started singing heavier roles like Eleazar from La Juive, Don José from Carmen, and even Sanson from Sanson et Dalila. And of course, let's not forget about Loris Ipanov from Fedora, Calaf from Turandot, and many other roles for a spinto tenor. I completely adore Jose Carreras because he is a sensitive performer, full of nuances, full of melancholy, and I can't help but have my heart melt for him because the timbre of his voice is quite heart-wrenching, and it makes him quite ideal for all of these melancholic and really emotional characters like Werther from Jules Massenet's Werther. And I definitely associate him with all of these sensitive roles because those roles kind of fit him like a glove, and deservedly so. He has a lot of great style. He is absolutely lovely, not only as a singer, but also as a person, even though I've never met him before. But I'm sure that he has a pretty good reputation, though out of all the three tenors, Placido Domingo seems to have one of the best reputations in terms of his personality. But going back to Jose Carreras, he's also a very fine and articulate singer all the way through. He was able to sweep me off my feet because of just how pristine his technique is, and also just how fine he is as a musician. And when you put all these three wonderful tenors together, you get a magnificent collaboration from not only the world's finest opera singers, but also three tenors who just love to make music together. And the conducting done by Stephen Mercurio was solid all the way through. He made sure that the orchestra and chorus were in tune, and the results were phenomenal. So overall, I highly recommend this Christmas album if you are a Three Tenors fan. You will not be disappointed whatsoever of the song choices they have to offer, and I'm sure that your holiday season will be as bright as ever, all thanks to these three legendary gentlemen. And with that said, I give the Three Tenors Christmas album a well-deserved rating of 5 out of 5 stars. It is definitely not only a must-own, but also a must-listen, especially when you have three iconic tenors in the forms of Luciano Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, and Jose Carreras really singing up a storm with all of their might and with all of their charisma to make this particular Christmas album a definite jewel. And for those of you who heard this particular album, what did you think of it? Did you really love all the three tenors? Was there one who stood out to you so much? Or did you feel like there was someone who kind of stuck out like a sore thumb? Comment below and let me know. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in much later where we go back to the classics as I review Fritz Wunderlich's Christmas album. So until then, happy holidays, everybody.